Hello guys. So if you notice, we're actually using, I have a camera that I'm using for this for the first time. I had it for years. I've always done it for photographs, but it just clicked for me that I could also do video on it. So I'm experimenting with it because it can do the wide ratio and it can hold a big memory card. So I'm experimenting with this and seeing how it goes for this quick video here, but I organized a tier list based on the overalls the game gave on the teams, and I organized them based on 5 categories from rating 78 to 80, 81 to 82, 83 to 84, 85 to 86, and 87 to 88. Now, there's only one team that's 78, and that's the Cardinals. The rest of the teams are 80 and above, so I kind of had to lump them in there on default. But there's a lot of 82 rated teams. That's probably the most used rating in the game. Bengals and Cowboys are 81. In all honesty, if you took the overall ratings out of factoring, Bengals could probably be placed in the same place as the Cardinal division, but they have something extra that for some reason gave them that boost. And I would say I put on the end of each line, I consider the best team technically in that tier, even though they all have close to the same ratings, give or take. The reason why I did it group points together instead of having them separately is, one, there's not enough teams for separate points to have them in their own tier, and two, a lot of the ones that are 83, 84 are close enough together to use against each other. But yeah, I placed Lions as the best one on the bottom tier because I feel like they had the best experience. It's tempting to put the Texans ahead of the Lions, but Lions have an advantage in experience while Texans don't. Cleveland, you could argue, is better than either one of them, but the problem with Cleveland is that they lack, it's tough. They just don't quite, they're not quite there. They're a little weaker on defense from what I remember. Not by much, really. They still have strong defenders, but not to the point where I consider them higher than that. And Cardinals, they're the worst team in the game easily. I mean, they're below 80 in their stuff. So yeah, I won't go over every team like that. And then next tier I place Ravens at the top, and there's a lot more teams. All of them are in the 82s. Bengals and Cowboys. Cowboys, they're tricky because they have 85 on defense, but their offense is below 80. It's in the 70s. It's one of the worst offenses in the game, so it makes more sense for them to be 81 in all honesty than Bengals. The rest of the teams, they're 82 in that line. But I consider the Ravens the best because they have one of the best defenses in the game, like if not the best defense in the game. And while their offense isn't the best, it has enough good parts that I consider it better than the other squads. Because the other squads, either they're balanced but not, either they favor one side more than the other, or they're both even but not high enough. So yeah. The next one I put Falcons as the best because Michael Vick. I mean, he changes everything, and they're a good team all around too. The rest of the teams, they kind of speak for themselves a little bit. They all have great stuff in them. There's Chargers make sense that they're kind of on the lower end really because they're still 83, but they got a lot of the players that are great are kind of older. And they're a little not as polished up. Their defense is pretty weak. Saints and Colts both don't have strong defenses. Seattle and New York is much more balanced. Kansas City is offensive oriented, but their offense is one of the best in the game. Denver is balanced. I will say I did not organize these teams in the tier list to a degree because they both have the same overall, so technically they should all match up evenly with each other, kinda. It's not a perfect tier list. Like I said, it's mainly based on overalls. If we were gonna dive really, really deep, this list could change. But yeah, The one above, I put New England as the best. And this one's tougher because a lot of teams are closely rated with each other. But St. Louis might actually be the worst team in that tier, even though I didn't put them there right spot, just because their defense blows. Their offense is fantastic, but so are the other teams in that league have great offenses too. So they're not really that special. San Francisco could be better than New England. However, New England has more diversity with their positions. I think San Fran, from what I remember, does have a weak position or two. The other teams, they're good, but they're not as high as New England, in my opinion. And then the last one. Tampa is definitely the best team. Only Tampa and Miami have an 88 overall. But I consider Tampa Bay better just because they're not, because both sides of the ball, they have great positions filled out. Miami kind of does, but I don't consider them as good. Plus, I think Tampa has a stronger receiving core than Miami, and I think Tampa has a way better quarterback situation than Miami does. Oakland, Philly, and Green Bay, they're 87s. I consider Green Bay probably the weakest in that division, not by much. I think the only reason why is because I think the positions that they're weak in are a tad weaker than the other teams. Philadelphia's only real weakness is that they don't have much for receivers. Oakland, the biggest thing with Oakland is that they have a good defense, but they're definitely more of an offensive team, and that kind of holds them back because Tampa and Miami are much more balanced out. But yeah, feel free at any time during this video to pause just to capture it and use it. I might do another tier list video in the future with my own opinion, my own manipulation, because what I kind of want to do is I want to take like the subcategories offense and defense and kind of mathematically determine what I would think their true overall is, because some of these overalls for these teams I don't know if they're quite accurate. I'm just simply doing based on the overalls just because that's what the computer give. Now so far I could say for the most part they seem accurate to me, but I think there's definitely more room enough for more than one tier list for sure. I don't know if I would have any overrated, underrated teams in this game. I think if I was going to pick any team that I feel is overrated in this game, it might be St. Louis. And a lot of it is just because they have no defense. Like, they have barely a defense, like, at all. Their offense kind of carries the team, but a lot of those players they have on offense are getting old. Kurt Warner, this was his last decent year, really, before he had the renaissance in Arizona. Marshall Faulk's getting up there. They're a fun team to use, but they're old and they're only one-sided. There are definitely some underrated teams in this game that I don't think a lot of people would think they could do much with. So while I do like the Lions and I do think they could win, they definitely earned that spot at the bottom of the list. If I was going to pick an underrated team, in all honesty, I'm going to have to go with Seattle. Seattle or Baltimore, but Seattle, no one talks about Seattle in the game, but they have depth at quarterback. They have a great running game. They have as far as I remember, a decent line. I don't remember for sure. They have great receivers. Their defense is stacked at defensive line, linebacker. I don't know if their coverage is exceptional, but I would definitely consider them pretty underrated. But yeah, more specifically, it's hard to say. I also like the Jets. The Jets were pretty fun. Kansas City's kind of cool, even though their defense is kind of weak. Denver's cool. Probably I feel like a lot of teams would pick Atlanta as the best team to use, and they are a good team to use, but they're not the best. Mainly because their defense is good, but not great. And offensively, while they have one of the best running back tandems in the game as well. And receiving they're okay in. You got to be careful with Vic because even though he has a great arm, he doesn't have the perfect arm. He can be a little inaccurate, and he's tough, but he's not the strongest quarterback in the world. If he gets hit hard enough and often enough and at the right time, he will fumble actually a decent amount. And he can get hurt. Even though his injury rating is pretty high, I have played with him getting hurt quite often because you use him too much. But yeah, the 5-tier list, they are kind of large, and that's kind of another reason why, because 8 teams in a tier seems like quite a few teams in a tier, but that's why in the future I might come up with a different kind of tier list. And of course, there's different kinds of tier lists we could do based on the teams, like best defense, best offense, best quarterback. There's different things we can do with this. So this is just the one based on the overalls the game came up with. But yeah, we're gonna call it good here. So yeah, this is gonna be the last Madden training video for a while. I'm definitely have plans for others in the future. Probably the next one you should expect in the future will probably be one going over the free agent roster in the game. And then after that, it's hard to say. I thought about going over playbooks, but a lot of them are very similar. There's not a lot of playbooks in the game I would consider stand out compared to others. If I'm going to give a sneak peek, I would say probably the coolest playbook's the Falcons' offensive playbook. Defensive playbooks, they're just a general 4-3-3-4. There's not much to go over with in those. It's really the offensive playbooks that have the most fun in the game. Other than that, we can go over like other game modes in the game, like tournament, practice, mini camp. We could also go over historic rosters and historic teams in the game, which actually would be pretty fun, although it would be quite a project to undertake because there's a shit ton of them in the game. So I wouldn't say those in the future. It just depends on what you guys want to see and what you guys want to hear from. And yeah, that's kind of going to be it for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this series so far. Let me know what you guys think. And once again, just to give a little background, the reason why I decided to do this because I felt like this game could be used in a tournament, and I feel like this game is tournament friendly, and I kind of wanted to manipulate and explore this game as a tournament game. And I enjoy doing it. It's one of my favorite games ever. I grew up playing a ton of it, and it's definitely something I always will go back to at various points in my life. So, yeah, this is the team overalls of tier list of this game. So, think of it, give me your thoughts on it on the YouTube comments, or if you wish to, we also have a Discord channel. So, you can chat with me, Mike, and other people of the Campy Company on that Discord channel just by clicking. We have a link to it on the About section or About page of the channel as well. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.